Well, the folks in Texas have done it. You better believe it. Everything's bigger in Texas. Texas forever. You know how it goes. That, and they tend to execute a lot of people, but whatever. They have made a big move in the transportation world, let's put it that way. They are getting set to open a new toll road that goes between Austin and San Antonio. And what do you think the speed limit is? What do you think the speed limit's going to be on a new highway in Texas where everything's always bigger? What do you think that's going to be between Austin and San Antonio? Well, you'd say, well, they and again, miles per hour. Remember, well, 55. A lot of their highways are 55 miles an hour. Nope. 60 miles an hour. Some of their interstates are 60 miles an hour. Nope. I've seen 65 and 70 from time to time. Nope and nope. How about 80? 80 seems pretty good. That should be somewhere in there. I think there's one through Montana or something that's 80 miles an hour. Nope. The new highway in Texas, stretching from San Antonio to Austin, will have a speed limit of 85 miles an hour. That's 136K. 136 kilometers an hour is going to be their speed limit on the highway. And can I raise my hand to say, that's fast? That's fast. I know if I ever accidentally kind of drift off into Never Never Land while I'm driving along and get caught up in a real fast-paced tune and my pedal just, and I for some reason don't have the cruise on, anytime I realize that I've accidentally hit like 130, I'm like, whoa, that's not good. Matt's going way too fast.
You hear that in your car's engine, depending on the engine. You hear that car kind of pushing.
The older the car, the more you hear it. I did that much if I ever got there. Well, I couldn't really get there with my old car. With the new one, well, it's not even new anymore, but you don't really notice it so much. But you notice when you look around, you go, wow, things are moving pretty fast. 136 kilometers an hour, 85 miles an hour for the new highway that is opening up in Texas in November. And here, I can say this. I've been one to say that the 100-kilometer-an-hour speed limit we've got is too low, but I think 136 might be too high. I think that just might be pushing it a little bit too much. Chris Klimek is with us. He's the fella that you may have heard a bunch of times. He's been pushing the 100-kilometer speed limit here in Ontario with his website, stop100.ca, and he joins us on the program. Chris, how's it going?
Doing pretty good, Matt. Thank you for having me.
Tell me what you guys were thinking, because you guys have been pushing the speed limit within our province for a while. Tell me what you were hearing and what you were thinking when Texas came through and they said the other day that they're going to push theirs to 85 miles an hour.
Well, I would like to say kudos to Texas. I mean, you know, they are leading the pack of the most open-minded people on this continent. So I'm very happy for those people in Texas. You know, we're building the 407 extension out east. Okay, so we're building a toll highway as well. Our toll highway 407 is still supposed to be limited at 100 kilometers an hour, which seems like a complete joke to most of the people. If you talk to anybody that takes the 407, again, I'm comparing apples to apples here. Okay, that highway in Texas is a toll highway. Okay, 407 is also a toll highway. We all know it. It's about 6, 7, 8 lanes in one direction. Okay, and 100 kilometers an hour. If you ask anybody on that highway, they will laugh at you, right? 100 kilometers an hour is a complete joke. The problem with the speed limit in Texas, I would like to say, you know, I'm hopeful that it will spread to different states, different provinces. The problem is it may not spread to different states or provinces, right? There's a speed kills propaganda being spread all the time. There's an insurance industry that's holding a tight grip on the politicians. It may not spread, but we will keep fighting.
Do you not get the feeling, though, that 85 might be a little bit too high? Because 136 kilometers, I know that it's not the speed that does it a lot of times, but even just a blown tire at 136 to me seems like that would create a hazard for you.
Well, Matt, here are the facts. If you look at and I'm myself from Europe. I've lived in the States as well. I've actually lived in Kansas, so I have a pretty broad perspective. If you look at the European countries, for example, you know, we think it's a rocket science. It's some amazing occurrence to see 136 kilometers an hour on a speed limit sign. Austria, the Netherlands, Denmark, France. I can, list the countries for next 5 minutes. These countries have had 130 kilometers an hour posted on speed limit signs for decades. Okay, so I'm not talking 136. That's 6, clicks faster. Not a big difference, obviously. 130 kilometers an hour has been posted on the speed limit signs in many countries around the world for decades. And mind you, Matt, that limit is actually combined with a very, very good safety result.
Does it not in some of those?
The faster you go, the more fatalities you're going to have. It does not mean that.
Chris, in some of those jurisdictions, don't you feel it comes with a little bit better and not so kind of up and down weather patterns, though?
Well, you know what? It's when you talk about weather and different geographical aspects of the terrain, it's just a mixed bag. I mean, you're talking about Florida, for example. Florida has no snow, as you know, right? Pretty dry roads, straight roads.
Yeah, they freak out when they get any snow.
112 kilometers an hour, right? Then you're talking Colorado, for example. Colorado has twisty mountain roads with pretty harsh climate. Speed limit 120. So it's extremely inconsistent.
So do you get, you obviously don't sound too optimistic that Texas is kind of putting the gauntlet down at 85 is going to catch on too much, eh?
I would like that to happen, and again, we're going to keep spreading the word. I would like to say to the Ontario drivers, though, I will not rest this cause here. I will not rest my, stop100.ca cause until every driver in Ontario knows that 100 kilometers an hour was not set out of safety, okay? This was a political speed limit established in 1976. Prior to that, we've had a higher speed limit. I want everybody to know that. We've had a 112 kilometers an hour speed limit prior to 1976. What happened in the 70s, there was an oil crisis, right? So the United States reduced the speed limit. Some countries in Europe reduced their speed limits. So did Ontario, okay? So we've lost 12 clicks right there from 112 to 100. So 100 kilometers an hour was not set out of safety. Everybody who sees those signs should know, posted on the highways here, should know that they have nothing to do with safety. This was a countermeasure to oil embargo.
Chris, as we all know, you've been kind of trying to lobby the government anyway to go down this road and have the conversation. From everything that we've seen, that conversation's fallen on a lot of deaf ears, isn't it?
Well, yes. In fact, what the problem is, the politicians do not, get interested in the facts. We have the facts on a table here. I've done some research. It's actually all public data. Some of it is easily accessible, some, not so easy. I had to talk to some people at MTO to receive some of the data I was looking for. Let me just give you a quick number here. Out of, about 500 people that died on all of the roads in our great province, okay, out of about 564 people in 2009, only 34 out of 564 actually died on 400 series highways. So this is only 6% of fatalities actually occurred on the highest, speed roads that we have in this province, okay? And the government then claims that, every fifth fatality, so 20% of fatalities, is actually attributed to excessive speed. These are the official numbers from the government. So if only 6% of fatalities took place on, the 400 series highways, and only every fifth fatality was actually attributed to high speed, you're looking at only 1.2%. Mark my words, 1.2% of all of the fatalities in this great province occurred on our fastest roads, 400 series highways, due to excessive speed. Speed does not kill.
Is it fair, Chris, to only use the fatalities, though, in that realm? Because obviously in a 400 series highway, all the cars are going in one direction, so the chances of dying, you would think, are going to be a heck of a lot less than when you're talking about if you're driving on Highway 6 or you're driving Highway 11 in certain places up north where you've got the much more ability to have head-on collisions, which I have to imagine the numbers would show are much more fatal than ones where cars are going in the same direction.
Exactly, Matt. You're perfectly right here. You just hit a nail on the head. And this is precisely our point. We're not lobbying for higher speed limits in the city roads, okay? We're not talking about, subdivisions where children are playing, where there's driveways, right? We're not talking about the, 80-kilometer-an-hour zones where you have intersections, stoplights. We're talking about the best roads that we have, okay? These are the high-speed roads. They're built for speed. That's the primary reason why we build, multi-lane divided highways, right? So these are the safest roads ever invented. There's so many different things about these roads that make them so safe. Therefore, we're saying 100 kilometers an hour, again, dating back to 1976. This wasn't a safety speed limit to begin with, okay? Many jurisdictions around the planet post 120, 130 kilometers an hour. This is the reason why we build those high-speed roads. You know, if I tell you tomorrow, let's limit those roads to 80 kilometers an hour so less people die, people would think it's a complete joke, right?
Yep.
Let's limit them to 60, right, if the speed, is such a critical factor. This is why we build safe, straight, multi-lane divided highways, to be able to get from point A to point B in the shortest time in a very safe manner.
Chris, at the end of it all, would you be comfortable with 136 as our speed limit here in Ontario?
You know what, Matt? I'm lobbying here for 120, 130. These are the most commonly, seen speed limits around the planet. I have been to a country with a speed limit of 140 kilometers an hour. Okay, I've actually spent a couple of weeks there. I drove on those roads. It's a very comfortable speed, anywhere between 120, 130, 140. Very comfortable, most efficient, and safest speeds.
Fair enough. Chris, I appreciate the time tonight.
Thank you very much, Matt.
Take care. That's Chris Klimek from stop100.ca, a group that is trying to, raise the speed limits here in Ontario, and they've been doing so for quite a while now. This all comes on the heels of Texas. The folks down in Texas really, really setting the bar high. They've got a new stretch of highway that's going to go between Austin and San Antonio. There's 41 miles of toll highway. They're going to have a speed limit of 85 miles an hour, or 136K. 905-645-3221, star 9900. Plain and simple, would you feel comfortable with 136 kilometers an hour being the speed limit posted on the QEW, the 403, or the 401? Personally, no, I wouldn't. Not at 136. I would be okay with 120, but 136, I just think is going a little bit too far. 905-645-3221, star 9900. God bless Texas. What would we do without Texas, really? 85 miles an hour is going to be the speed limit on a new toll highway they've got going between Austin and San Antonio. I have to imagine the heat down there makes you want to drive that fast anyway. I wonder if your car would break down more. Overheated? Anybody? Bueller? But 85 kilometers an hour is going to be the speed limit down there. That's 136 kilometers. And I'm just kind of curious if you would be comfortable with that being posted on the QEW, the 403, the 401, if you're going up north, the 400, or any of the other major highways we've got in this province. Would you be comfortable with 136 kilometers being the posted speed limit? Because quite frankly, I wouldn't. And I've been on the side of those individuals like Chris Klimek, who we were talking to from stop100.ca. I've been on their board to say that 100 can go up from there. But I'm comfortable with 110, 120 at the most. And if we're going to do 120, we are policing it as such. Maybe they can go 124, but they hit 125, you ticket them. I'm not talking it's 100. If you go past a cop in 120, you don't get a ticket. There's no 20-kilometer grace period. If it's a 120 posted speed limit, you get away if you're doing 123, 124, but anything higher than that, you get nabbed. That's where I would be comfortable. 136, I just wouldn't feel. I don't know. I don't like driving that fast. And the times that I've accidentally or purposefully gone that fast because I've been in a rush for this thing or the other thing, I don't feel that safe going that fast. I just don't. Not at 130, 35. It's way too much. Not way too much, like 15 kilometers, too much. 905-645-3221, star 9900. Comfortable with 136 kilometers or no? Let's go to Bev on the cell phone. How's it going, Bev?
Oh, it's all right, Matt.
What do you think of 136K?
It's pretty slow.
You think that's slow?
Yeah.
How fast do you drive on the highway?
Well, I don't drive that fast. I mean, I think 30 is fine on the 400 series in QEW, but where I'm coming from, Matt, is I help rebuild the QEW from Casablanca Boulevard to Victoria Street and Vineland.
Okay.
And if you think that 136 is fast, wait until you hear this number of what that road is actually rated at. Now, it's 3 lanes both ways, and the 4th lane, I know because I ran the machine and helped. I put the 4th lane on grade and the shoulders all on grade. They can put 4 lanes in there pretty simple in that area. But the speed rating on that piece of road that's 14 point whatever kilometers long, in miles per hour, it would be 200 miles an hour. That's like you could go that fast on that highway.
You're talking Casablanca?
Nobody can because the law says you can't, but that's the speed rating of that road that we build it for. Like it's safe up to that point. No, I don't think anybody drive that fast on any road, but I'm saying the road, you're using the QEW, you're not even using the road for any, it's just the speed that you could drive on it and be safe, probably about 120 miles an hour on there, you'd be pretty safe.
Oh, I imagine you could probably do, 140, 150 if you had a car that could handle it and there was nobody else out there, right?
Well, I'm saying what the road was designed to be a speed rating of. You know? I'm not saying that people are going to drive that fast, and I don't drive that fast, but I don't see anything wrong with 130K on those the 400 series. In fact, I think that if you drove that speed and everybody drove that speed, it'd be quite safe out there driving that speed. But the problem is you get people that drive like 80 kilometers, and all they do is make congestion on the road, and that makes it a lot worse.
Yeah, the guys going too slow and going 80 clicks on the highway, had that conversation before, absolutely stymie everything.
It's not a good thing.
No, it's definitely more of a hindrance than going 120.
That's right. The 120 speed, 125 speed on them 400 series highways is quite safe. I worked on the west end of the 407 too, and when we brought it right out to the 403 there. So again, that road is built design-wise. They design them and build them for a lot more speed than what we're actually driving on the roads. That's the bottom line. They have to be built to withstand a lot more speed than what people actually use them at.
I got no problem with that, right? You're always building in a tolerance.
Well, it's a good thing to build them with that kind of speed rating because everybody should be safe at, not 100, but I'm saying if you do go over 100K and if you're doing 140, you're still safe because the road is well built way ahead of you.
Yeah.
And that way there, like I'm saying, that's what the rating was on that section there. And the girl I talked to there before you, she sounded really shocked when I said that speed. She goes, "Oh, really?" But that's how all roads are built. It's like buildings. They're built. They should be built way above the standard code type of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that should go with everything.
Yeah, and that's how it should be with everything. Is everything is built way above the standards, and that way there, you're never really using the potential that you could go on it. But I think that personally, I drove on the road when it was 70 mile an hour for cars on the 401, or the McDonald car shade, if you want to call it that, and trucks were limited to 60 miles an hour.
Yeah, that would have been a while ago.
Well, I know, but
you're dating yourself, you know that.
Yeah, but again, the roads were always built beyond the speed, So that's what I'm trying to. My point is, the roads are built way faster than what you're driving and what you're, to using them at.
Yeah. Do you think?
But I have no problem going 130. That's a good speed.
Fair enough, Bev. I appreciate the call tonight.
Not a problem.
Thanks,
care,
Matt. Take care. 905-645-3221 or star 9900 on your cell phone. I understand that idea. I understand that the roads are going to be rated and built to withstand much, much more speed than we're going to put on the speed limit. I just wouldn't feel comfortable at that speed. 136. Having everybody doing 136 and that being capable, I know that there are too many bad drivers out there, and like it or not, speed gives them less time to react to things, so I don't like it on that front. 2, I know that there's a lot of cars on the road that sometimes shouldn't be on the road, and if you get them up to 136, you're going to be in a much greater opportunity of them breaking down, and they can't handle the speed, so I'm not particularly happy with that. And 3, there will be people that will be absolutely petrified
of that speed and will be on that right lane, probably doing 80 or 90, and you think it's bad when people are doing 110, 120 around an 80 kilometer an hour vehicle, try if they're doing 135 and a vehicle's doing 80. That is an absolute catastrophe waiting to happen. Again, you should probably take those people who are going too slow and tell them to get on the service roads or get on one of the smaller highways if you want to travel that stretch of the QEW that he was talking out through Casablanca to Victoria to Vineland. Get on Highway 8 and come along that if you want. Or if you're going somewhere else, grab Highway 6s or Highway 3 if you're out in that. You take those roads. Take those roads if you want to do 80 or 100. Those are fine. But if you're going to do 80 on a road where it's 136, that's a smashy. That's a lot of smashy waiting to happen. But personally, I wouldn't be comfortable with 136. I just wouldn't. I don't think I could be.
Too many people driving too slow. I think
that's the other problem. Is there's so much congestion on the roads anyway. Half the time to have the conversation of raising speed limits to 100.
Point.
Yeah, it's a moot point because when there's people actually on the road, you can't drive over 40 clicks anyway. So what's the difference?
True say.
Tell anybody who goes to Toronto back and forth daily what their average speed limit is.
20.
Sometimes I get up to 60, but then I got to slam on the brakes so I don't hit the other guy's ass end.